All right, so we're back with the B team today, and we got our special guest, our guy Jarey Elder, back on the show. Uh, Today we are missing Mike. He decided to take a 3-day bender. Typical. Um, Loves his vacations. Here, we'll get gassy in the frame here. Let's move this way. Let's move this way. We'll both be in. So we got me and producer Gas on today. So Dre's fresh off a season, very good season actually. 7-3, second in the South. The Breakers had a good run, won some key games at the end to keep yourselves in the race there. And then unfortunate game against the Stallions, but all in all, I would say it was a good year for you. I mean, two massive hurdles that we saw live on TV. We had 93 punt return yards. I mean, fourth in the league, I think. And then 49 tackles, 2 interceptions, a sack. I mean, take us through your season. Welcome back on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. Yeah, the season obviously didn't finish the way we wanted it to, but it was a hell of a run. The guys really bought in. We started the year off fast, and then we went through a little bit of a slump, and we just came together, and try to get each other out of that slump. And I feel like we did a really good job of believing in our coach's message and just coming together and believing in one another to get ourselves back to where we wanted to be, and that was in the playoffs. And I mean, you alluded to it earlier. We didn't finish the way we wanted to. That playoff game against the Stallions definitely didn't go the way we was expecting. But all in all, it was a good year for all of us, and definitely proud of the guys and how we fought and came together in a scratch and claw to just get to where we were.
Absolutely. And I mean, when you look at the season as a whole, you could have said that that semifinal game was probably the final, the way both teams were playing. And from just an outsider looking in, it looked like you guys had that chemistry going. Like, just as a whole collective, your coach had you guys on the right path. The whole team was on the right path, just doing the right things. Um, so I mean, you guys took a big step forward. It seems like. I mean, I was just reading through some stuff from the fans, great fan base, and it'll be interesting to see if the USFL can actually expand a little bit and give you guys more of a home field advantage.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would be amazing to play in front of the New Orleans fans that we have and be able to give them the show that we do. And this is probably one of the closest teams I've been a part of. We kind of talked about it in the locker room and talked about it amongst ourselves that it just is like one of the weird feelings, because in professional sports, especially professional football, guys come and go out of the locker room every year. And we are fortunate enough to bring a lot of guys back from the previous year's team and then coming together this year and having the season we had this year. It's just crazy to see. Like a lot of us are close and we talk about each other's kids, talk about each other's families, and actually ask those questions and check on each other. And like I said, it's not like a typical thing you see in most people's locker room. So, but I feel like we had a unique bond, a unique chemistry, and you saw that on the field, especially when it's time to come together and get ourselves out of that slump that we were in.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, down the stretch of the season there, I mean, I know us as a podcast, we were looking at, we're like, like we want them to get to the playoffs here. Like, we need to get some wins going. We need to get some wins. And then
Yeah.
it was like those couple games where like you're hurdling people. Uh, we're all throwing for you. Everyone's just going off. It just felt
Mm-hmm.
like the whole team saw that moment. Like, all right, we need to rattle off 3-4 wins to solidify ourselves in the playoffs. And everyone performed so well. And going into that last game of the season, it was a win and you're in situation essentially. Uh,
Yeah.
like the vibe of the
Yeah.
team. How was that? Because I know in those situations sometimes it can be like if you haven't been there, it can be a little nerve wracking. I mean, it's you're trying to get back to that point, like you said.
Yeah, for sure. Jared Fernandez, the linebacker number 4, he had like kind of called his own. He's captain. He called his own captain meeting, and he kind of just pulled people's card like, "What do y'all want out of this shit?" And he was saying like, he never really won a championship of his own, and we're at that point. Like I said, we're on a 3-game losing streak. He's like, "What do we want from this? Like, do we just want to be here to kind of be a part of it, or do we want to be here to take over it?" And after that meeting, I just feel like everybody just bought in and wanted to fight that much harder for each other and seeing like his passion that he spoke with, you see like the look in his eye, like I feel like everybody just bought in that much more. So like we're gonna get this done for not only ourselves, not only our family and our kids and everything, but also for our brother, the ones next to us, the ones all around us. Let's step up and get this win and get these wins for the coach, the players, and just do it for each other. And once we got to that point and we started getting it back, you can see that, like you're saying, you can see on TV, like we just had a chemistry about us, and that's just how it was. Our locker room was, like I said, unique, and everybody was making plays. Like you never knew who it was going to be that made the play, but someone was going to make a big play, and There's a lot of splash plays. I feel like our team is one of the most exciting teams to watch week in and week out, just because we brought so much to the table. We have so many playmakers, and it's not just receivers, running backs, DBs, linebackers. It's just anybody on the field could make a play, and you never know who it was, and that's what made it so exciting.
Hmm. Yeah, even cameramen, like we said after the first game. Uh, no, I mean, this is the first year I really tuned into a bunch of the games, and I agree with you. Like I would say, you guys in the Stallions probably have the most versatile teams. Like anyone on any day could be that guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's ultimately what it came down to. And I don't want to put a damper on this. We're only going to talk about it for a little, but the semifinal game, I mean,
Mhm.
what did you feel like they did that just kind of threw you guys off on the day?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first two games we played them, we were able to get the quarterback onto the ground.
Mhm.
And this time he just, and there's no fault on our D line at all. He just went out there and made plays. He was real hard to get to the ground this time. And there was times he was dropping back and just looking for a spot to run and then get into his read. You know, a lot of quarterbacks will go there, they'll drop back looking for their reads. And if they have to run, they'll run. And he's not just a runner that's looking to run and take off. He's a runner that's looking to run and still make the right throw, the right read. So the quarterback brought a lot to the table, and like their offense is full of playmakers, and their playmakers stepped up and made plays that game. And obviously, you always want to say it's nothing they did wrong, and it's on us. But I mean, nothing we did wrong and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
we made it. There's a lot of plays that we didn't make out there, and there's a lot of spots that we could have stepped up and played better and been better, and we didn't. And the better team that day won. And I think it's just more fuel to the fire coming into the next season. We'll see what guys we get back and who will be back and where we're at, but it definitely add fuel to the fire. But every time we play Birmingham in this exciting game, the fans come out. It's their home stadium, no matter if we're the home team that game or the away team. It's really exciting to play against them. And they're a team full of great players and great dudes too. So there's gonna be trash talking. The stands are filled with the Birmingham fans talking trash to us. And as a pro, you love to be in that environment. You love when someone's in your ear talking trash, and it makes the game exciting. It makes it that much better to be out there. So I love those games. I live for them. So just got to get back to the drawing board and figure out what we got to do to get better to go ahead and get to that championship, and not only get there to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, going back to what we talked about earlier, the whole home field advantage thing. I mean, the Stallions basically have a home game almost all their games because it's that stadium, I feel like. And I, the way the fan bases seem to work, if you guys could play in New Orleans, I feel like that game, that atmosphere, like the home and home there between Birmingham and you guys would be absolutely electric
Mm,
because it's just you
yeah,
guys have really good fan bases that follow you and stuff. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future there. Um,
yeah. There's been some rumors that some teams are going to get moved around, and there may be other teams in their home cities coming up soon. So hopefully within the next year or so, you'll see some other teams get into their home cities.
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. We were saying we got to get out to a game next year. So, but that leads me to
Oh,
my
for
next
sure.
question. So, what's next? What's next for you? So we're in the off season now, and will we be seeing you back in NOLA, or what's the next move?
You really don't know how the offseason goes. I mean, obviously, like my dream is still to make it to the NFL and to play in the NFL. So
Yeah,
obviously, I'm sitting here hoping out for a call that a team gives me a chance. But at the end of the day, I love being in NOLA. I love being with my teammates and playing for the coaches I play for. So obviously, if the NFL thing doesn't happen, I'd love to be back next year. Obviously, the offseason being home, being able to spend time with my family is nothing like it. Um, so right now, that's kind of the only thing on my mind, keeping my body healthy and spending time with my family. And I'll worry about the next step when it's time to make that decision and figure it all out. But like I said, if I'm not playing in the NFL and if I don't get that shot, then I'll be back with NOLA for sure.
for sure, and that's not a bad thing. And are you based down there, or are you up here now?
I'm back home now. Yeah, I'm back home now.
Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so we might have to link up and play a
Yeah.
little ball. No, so is that was one thing I was thinking of, like because your season kind of goes into the summer, and the
Mm,
XFL too, like even those guys, it goes into the summer. Like, is there a process to that the NFL has for all you guys? Because there's some guys, yourself included, that I think easily could get themselves onto a roster or at least compete for a spot. So I don't
Hmm.
know how that process would work or if they have
Yeah,
something in place already.
it, obviously like the draft is like their most important thing.
Yeah,
And then it kind of falls into line. You also got to see like what guys sign back, what guys don't sign back, who gets traded, who doesn't get traded, and then like where the rosters, like who the rosters need. So if
yeah,
this roster needs X amount of more DBs or X amount of more receivers, and they'll go in and they're looking for receivers to pick up, and that's when you see guys start getting picked up. Normally for us, like last year, I think we had about 71, if not more, guys get signed by NFL teams, and then
right.
I think maybe three or four ended up playing actively this year, and then a couple more were practice squad. So it definitely does happen, but it's opportunity. Like when the opportunity presents itself and you get that call up, it's what opportunity you get then when you get there. Because sometimes, and I'll be honest, and it's kind of a tough part of the game, but some people are brought up as a camp body. So like you might be there and you might think like, oh, I just got signed by this, but they already have their roster full and they're just bringing you in to use you as a camp body. But with that, the opportunity is the opportunity. So you're still going to get those preseason games or like practice film and everything. And
Yeah,
then hopefully a team gets your film and then wants to pick you up from there. If that team isn't for you, there's still 31 other teams that might need a guy like you. So just taking advantage of your opportunities you get because you never know who's watching. You never know what play or what day is going to set you apart. And one year it could change your whole life. And really in professional football, one play could change your whole life. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't punt returner at the end of the year, or I mean at the beginning of the year, and our punt returner he just didn't necessarily want to do it anymore, and we kind of joked about it before. Like he's like, "Hey, I think you should do punt return. I think you should do punt return." I started doing punt return. My first actual return, I jumped over somebody. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I ended up keeping the spot for the rest of the year. So it's like one good play could completely change the perspective of your season, and then one good year can completely change the perspective of your life, especially when you're talking about that kind of money on the back end.
yeah. And I mean, I always think of Cavante Turpin when people talk about like if you get that opportunity to take it. That preseason game,
Mm-hmm.
he was on the fringe. Like I still don't think he would have been signed if he didn't do that in that game when he had the two returns.
Yeah,
That
against the
I
Chiefs.
mean, he got signed the next day. He finally got the star on the helmet. And now he's like one of my
Yeah.
favorite players to watch. I wish they would use him more. So it's one of those things like I I tweet at Dallas Cowboys like a couple times a week. I just tweet your name at them.
uh,
I need you to know that. So
I
Jerry,
appreciate
if Jerry's watching, he's gonna pick it
it.
up. Um,
I appreciate that.
yeah, for sure. And I think it's something to be said going along those lines. Just coming out of college, I mean, you see so many PSAC players have success. We're seeing it
Mm.
more and more now. And uh, what's his name? Wes Hills. That's his name, right? I'm
Yep.
saying it right. All right.
Yep.
Yeah, he went to Slippery Rock, and I believe he
Mm.
was the leading rusher this year.
Yep.
So that's just another guy that's out of PSAC that is doing things in professional football. And I think it's time that we all start taking a look at it, like maybe some NFL teams should be looking a little more into it and
Yeah.
giving more of our guys a shot.
I do. I agree 100%. A lot of times getting kind of get to the job security because they go and they go to their war rooms or meeting rooms and they say, "Hey, I got this big D1 guy, and I think he's the man, and he does this, does that. His film says this and that. And if that big D1 guy turns out not to be the man in a year or 2 years, it's like, well, you know what? That LSU guy or that Clemson guy, all right, I missed on him, but the next 4 or 5 guys aren't going to be misses comparatively to taking a guy that's a D2 All American or having the stats that he has, so on and so forth. If they take a chance on us and they miss on us, it looks really bad. And it's like, why were you taking that chance on a D2 guy when you could have took
Oh, well, we lost him. Well, we lost him. I'm not sure where he went, but let's see. Do we have him?
Yeah, he's still in the call.
Let's see. Jarey?
Yeah, I hear you guys. I don't know why I can't see you though.
All right, we hear you. That'll work. Oh. You can hear us?
You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, we hear
But
you.
yeah, Yeah, I was just saying. There you go. He back now.
All right.
But yeah, I was saying how like it'll make a lot of sense. You guys good?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We all good?
Yeah, we're
All
good.
right. But yeah, I was saying how it just makes a lot of sense for them to take the chance on the guy for them to come and be
Oh no.
and be productive, and then take the chance on us because they're worried about that next guy that comes up or that guy not being as productive as a SEC or a Big Ten guy, and then they might look bad in their war rooms or anything like that. So that's more of like a safety valve for them to go ahead and give that big time guy the opportunity. And it's hard to say they're wrong because they're playing against that level of competition every year.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a part of me that's like, yes, like I totally hear you. You guys should do that. But at the same time, it's like some of these guys, I feel like they just never want to take a chance.
Yeah.
Like you see some of these top picks, and you see it a lot in the NBA where it's like, oh, this guy is supposed to be that. And even if everyone can kind of see, like, hey, he's not the best shooter, wasn't the best shooter in college, but he's this big athletic guy, looked good when he ran to the rim. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's something to be said about the Luka Doncic's and the Nikola Jokic's, where these NBA guys, I mean, Nikola got picked during a Taco Bell commercial. A lot of
Yeah,
people get that. He wasn't even thought about on TV.
that's
So,
crazy.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how everything plays out over the next couple of years, but I hope that people get those chances.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
for sure. I just hope that guys like Wes and guys like myself are able to show these scouts that, like, listen, there are guys that are doing it at that D2 level that deserve a shot. I mean, I'm not like a braggadocious guy at all, but I was a two-time All-American and I had the college I did what I did in college, you know what I mean? And Wes was also very successful in college as well. And there's no mistake that we were successful in college and now we're also being successful in the USFL. It's because we're good players. And I just hope that for the guys that come after me that are Division II guys, that they're able to get a shot where a scout might go back one day like, hey, listen, you remember that Jarey other guy we missed out on, or you remember that West Hill guy that we missed out on? Let's go take a chance on this guy. You know what I mean? It's not so much I'm not gonna say I don't care about myself, but at the end of the day, I'm happy. You know what I mean? I'm happy I'm able to ball. I'm able to do what I love to do. So I can't complain too much. It's just the next guys. I just hope they're able to get the opportunity and do the right thing with the opportunity that they're given. And I hope one day it's like, listen, and then like I'm saying, I'm hoping in that scout room they're listening, like that drill guy that I like, or one guy I like that you guys didn't like.
yeah,
I think this is the next such and such. I think this kid can be better than Dre. You know what I mean? Like that'll make all this worth it. Above all else, that would make all this 10 times worth it.
absolutely. Cass, you have any questions?
Yeah, so you've been in the USFL for a couple years now, and I'm just wondering where you see like the league going in the future, because there's been like a couple leagues that have tried to kind of bring off-season football in the NFL off-season. Like you had the AAF, the XFL, and now the USFL. So I'm just wondering, after seeing it from the perspective of a player, like where do you see this league going potentially in the next few years?
Yeah, I think one thing that those other leagues kind of struggle with was keeping the financials together. A lot of those leagues, if you go and like do the research on it, something went wrong with checks or something went wrong somewhere financially down the road. What I think the USFL is doing a good job of is not going all this money or doing all this flashy and fancy stuff. They're spending the money where it needs to be spent, and they're saving the money, which is most importantly when it needs to be saved. So I think in the next couple of years, I think the USFL is going to keep growing. I think they're doing a really good job of trying to be organic, saving the money, still using hub cities and keeping two teams in one city. I think that's huge so that when it is 4 or 5 years down the line and every team is in their actual home city and they saved up all this money, then you start seeing the players get played more, seeing the players get paid more. And then it's going to get real interesting when those guys, especially quarterbacks that are on practice squad in the NFL, start dropping down to the USFL because they can play and get paid the same amount of money. So it doesn't make sense to sit there on a practice squad roster, not able to get any film. We can go down to the USFL and you could get active film, ball, do what you love to do, and get paid the same amount that you're going to get paid anyway. I think that's when things are going to start getting interesting when the USFL can compete for guys that are in the practice squad or at the practice squad level. And I think that's a lot. It's going to happen a lot sooner than people think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the USFL XFL conversation gives me vibes of like the PGA Tour and Live Golf right now. So I feel like
Yeah.
XFL threw a ton of money into it, and that's just not sustainable. And then
Mhm.
USFL is doing this methodical approach, like PGA Tour, like we have to sustain, and like they're ultimately going to come out on top. So yeah, it
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense what you guys are doing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as someone that just wants to see the league do well, or and all the leagues do well, so more and more guys can have opportunities. I hope the XFL can find a way to stay around as well, just so that as more guys, more coaches, more training, equipment staff that are able to keep jobs. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
good to have jobs that are here and people work them and people to do things that are passionate about. So I think that's huge. But as a USFL guy, whatever we got to do to keep ourselves around, that's what I'm worried about. You know what I
Keep
mean?
us going. Keep us going. No, for sure. Well, yes, you have anything else?
Yeah, just one last
No, keep
question.
it going.
Anything special you do in the off season to keep yourself ready, other than just like your typical like weight training and conditioning programs?
Yeah, I just chase my kids around the house. Nah, on top of that, no. So
Your
I have
kid
a
cracks me up.
yeah,
I saw him
they're
jumping in and
crazy.
out of the pool yesterday. That was fun to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I have a trainer down in the Conshohocken, Philly area. His name is Kenny Reds. He handles most of my on the field stuff. So a lot of my DB drills and just general agility. I do a lot with him, and then a little bit of speed work as well. And then here back home, I have a strength coach, Ryan Wien. He does a lot of my strength stuff, explosive stuff, and we also work on some agility and speed too. Um, I like working with those two guys just because I mean Kenny has a lot of experience. He's been doing it for a while, and Ryan's worked with great people now, and he's starting to get his own experience, and I can trust him. They're not guys that scared to tell me I'm doing something wrong. A lot of people go with someone that just makes them comfortable and keep them in a comfort zone. I want to train with people that's going to push me, and I feel like another thing being in the off season that's kind of tough living where I live, like in the Lehigh Valley. A lot of the top players and like the high athletes don't necessarily train around here, so finding people to train with that are at your level is also a hard thing as well. So yeah, just finding people to train with and having the right people to push you goes a long way, but also finding different ways to push your body. Um, this off season, I was actually playing a good amount of tennis. Tennis is way harder than I thought it was, but just the footwork, the foot placement, and stuff like that, and learning how to hit the ball, transfer through my hips, and like actually get through a triple extension is different. It's a lot of different things in different sports that translate, and a lot of stuff with being a defensive guy and having to slide my feet as a D back, a lot of stuff did translate, and I feel like playing tennis, I'm not gonna say it gave me an edge, but I think if I actually got half decent at it and played a little bit more, I think I could see a difference in my game by picking that up. But yeah, just finding different ways to use different muscles that you're not going to use every day in your regular football training and get, like I said before, getting uncomfortable.
That makes a lot of sense. And you hear it a lot where it's like kids should be playing a bunch of sports. And I feel like there's a lot of kids that try and specialize in one when really through high school you should be specializing in a bunch. And I know we've talked
Yeah.
about basketball, football, now tennis. Like I played a bunch of sport. We all played a bunch of sports growing up. And I mean, it all
Mm-hmm.
translates. Event like there's something to be said about just being an athletic person. Being able to just do a bunch of athletic things will translate to any sport.
For sure. Soccer is most important though. My kids got to start with soccer. That's the first one for me. Soccer's got to be the
Yeah,
first.
you know what? I agree with that. I agree. No. But
Wherever you go after that is on you. But soccer, just for
yeah.
the footwork is amazing. You're not gonna get it anywhere
So,
else. So
so one, especially because it's summer, that I keep saying my kids gotta learn how to play is golf. I don't know if you golf at all,
yeah.
but I feel like golf is low.
Last summer was my first year.
Yeah.
That just got started. I suck. So that's teaching me patience and messing with my confidence. But golf is rough, but I love it. It's a good time for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, we posted a video of Mike golfing. He went for the first time basically this past week. So him and I went
Uh
on the 9 hole in Bethlehem. He turns around and is like, "Hey, like I'm gonna watch me hit this 9 iron." Skulls it right into the trees. It was the funniest thing I ever. I was cracking up. He's so bad, but he has potential.
yeah. I need to golf with Mike. It sounds like we're
Yeah.
right in the same at the same spot. I need to golf with him, help my confidence.
And he's just a confidence boost. He'll put one into the tree and be like, "Well, I'll drop up by the green because that's where it would have ended up." And All of a sudden, he's taking a par out of nowhere because he just picks and chooses where he puts his
Yeah.
ball. Oh man, he's a blast to play with.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, this has been good. Guys, you got anything else?
No, I'm good.
Oh yeah, it was good to talk to you again, man, and I'm sure we'll link up soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, man.
Yeah, no problem. We'll keep an eye out for your next move,
All right.
and we'll keep tweeting at people until it happens.
Yeah, shout out J Legacy Sports Academy too. We got some stuff growing up with my young youth camps coming. So
Yeah.
shout out to that as well.
Where's that going to be at? Yeah, shout out. That's everything.
We had our first one in Whitehall, Pennsylvania, and we'll be looking to do some more stuff soon. It should be some news coming out soon, but nothing in stone just yet. But we got some big things coming for sure.
Awesome. We'll help push that for sure.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Well, Jarey, it was great talking to you again. Thank you for coming on as always. Great time.
Yep. Thank you guys, man. Have a good night.
All right. So you would have just heard our interview with Jarey Elder, 3-time guest, maybe 4. But, I mean, he's a beast. Shout out to his camp that's coming up. Might be in Whitehall, might not be. We are unsure yet. But we will be letting everyone know. Not that most people that listen to the show would be able to attend, most likely. But still, send your kids, nephews, other kids that you might find on the street, send them to the camp. You know, let them learn some football. But we are here, like I said on the interview. Mike is not here. It's me and Gassy. We're going to talk some sports for maybe a few more minutes. But we got to start right here. Hard Knocks is taking over the Jets for this preseason. Doesn't sound like the Jets want anything to do with it as an organization. But it also doesn't sound like they really have a choice here. It sounds like HBO is going to do it. The NFL has a deal with them, and they want to do the Jets. So it's the Jets.
Yeah, so the last thing I heard was that basically the last 3 teams that are in the running for it, all of them don't really want to do it. So if the situation arises that 0 teams choose Hard Knocks, they'll just pick somebody.
Yep.
And that somebody is most likely going to be the Jets.
It will be.
Yep. You got Aaron Rodgers, you got the ayahuasca, you got all the drama of New York.
Yep.
So they'll come to New York. I don't know how I feel about that. I think it'll be a distraction for the most part, but not that big of a deal, because the Jets already have like a really good media team. For anyone who doesn't know, they put out like 3 or 4 part like docu-series in the summer, and then they do like a vlog series once a week all season. So I think the players might be used to it, but Hard Knocks is definitely a little different because like if there's any drama or negative moments,
They're
like,
going to blow it up.
they're going to blow it up.
And for a team that's like, it's young. They're building themselves up. You have a veteran quarterback now that is a proven winner, wants to come in and win, is dramatic in himself. And, I mean, that's just not something you need around the team, especially if there's going to be drama. If you're going to have Aaron Rodgers yelling at people like it seemed like he was last year, saying that they need to be better. Well, he brought all of his friends, and then he's got a bunch of young guys there. So this could just be the same exact thing.
I think Aaron seems a little more chilled out now since he's been in New York.
Yeah.
All the like little video clips I've seen of him, it seems like he's just at peace now that he's out of Green Bay.
Yeah.
So maybe he's chilled out a little bit. He's just going to be like the mellow uncle kind of character on the team with all these young guys. Like the stoner uncle who just takes mushrooms and introduces the kids to weed.
Did you see that he went to Denver or somewhere to promote? Yeah, you saw
He
that.
spoke at like a psychedelics conference. I don't know if he did it already or it's still upcoming, but
I
like
think he did it. I think it was last week, but I'm not sure because I thought I saw that he spoke at it.
yeah, he was on the list of like to be a speaker there. I would actually like to see what he says about psychedelics.
I could see him walking in and be like, listen, like last year I was in a bad place and I took psychedelics and then I threw a bunch of touchdowns to this one rookie that I don't even know his name. And then I went into this dark room, took some more, and all of a sudden I'm a Jet. Like, it's a great thing. I got paid millions of dollars by taking psychedelics. I could see him just dropping into that.
I could see the same thing. I could definitely see him like giving psychedelics credit for like his MVP seasons.
Yeah,
how he just
absolutely.
won those 2 MVPs like later in his career. But I would really love to hear the story of the darkness. Like
Yeah,
how
like-
that went down. Like he walked into the darkness, 90% retired, and then walked into the light, a New York Jet.
That
Like, how did
literally-
that happen?
That makes no sense. Walking into the light and New York Jet in the same sentence does not make sense. And we have to remember that he was only in there for like a day, and he was supposed to be in there for a week. So something happened in there. Like he either got beat, or he's an insane person to want to be a Jet. No offense, but track record. It's not great.
Yeah, I think he might be an insane person,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah, that might be good. This might. So, I didn't want to get into this. I really don't want to talk about him, but this might be the beginning of Zach Wilson.
I think Zach needs to take ayahuasca with Aaron Rodgers. I
he
think
already
that
did.
will be his only chance.
Have you seen the no-look passes he's thrown?
I have seen a few clips out of training camp,
He-
and they looked all right.
He looks good. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but Zach Wilson looked good. I don't want to get a few years ahead of myself, but he could be the truth if Aaron Rodgers wants to retire in a year or two.
I don't think Zach Wilson will ever be a good quarterback, but I still have like a little last shred of hope in my heart for Zach Wilson.
There's that little bit that's in there.
I think the problem is like he won't ever play for the Jets again because like once Aaron is gone, Zach's rookie deal is gonna be up, and like his ass isn't getting paid by the Jets. So like I think he'll go somewhere else, and he'll definitely get a second chance. But dude, I don't know.
He won't get. You're right. He won't get paid unless he has like a crazy turnaround. He won't get paid, but they could give him a prove it season. Depending.
I
on
actually, I hope that happens.
If this doesn't work out, the Aaron Rodgers thing, like if you guys don't make it happen, maybe you get to the playoffs and it's an exit right away for maybe 2 years, 3 years max. You could, weigh the balance sheet a little bit better if you give Zach Wilson a prove it deal. And then if he does
I think that could possibly happen. Like,
because the team around the quarterback could be very good at that point. Could be
yeah,
very good.
yeah, they could be ready to go.
So it'll be interesting. Yeah, I don't want to get into Zach Wilson.
No,
that's
we've been through it too
hole.
much on this
That's
show.
a really deep hole. So let's move on to the other bad part of the NFL, which is that they suspended a bunch of people for gambling on their sports book that is a partner of theirs, which makes complete sense.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be a dumbass as a player to
Yes.
like put a bet down in your name. I'm sure a ton of NFL players have been betting on sports as long as this league has existed.
Mm-hmm.
But all you have to do is get a friend that you trust and say, "Hey, bro, put me down $2,000 on Arizona this weekend,"
Yeah.
and you're not gonna get caught.
But that's the other thing. Like, if you're making so much money, and I know that like that's not an excuse. Like, oh, let the kids have fun. But two things. One, why can't they just wait till they leave the facility? There's like 3 or 4 guys that it's like your only rule on betting. Like, they aren't even betting on the NFL, some of them. You just can't place the bet in the facility. All you have to do is walk out the door. Just get outside the facility, and you're good. Like, it does not make any sense to me.
Is
Just-
that actually what happened
Yeah, in Detroit, they were placing bets in the facility.
on other sports?
I forget. I think there was a few on NFL, but there was a couple that was just other, like, there's betting. But, like, you could just leave the facility and do it and then come back the next day with a bet placed. But then, yeah, the one Colts player is a moron. I mean, you can't bet in the facility on your team's running back for an over-under on rushing yards. That, my friend, you deserve to be suspended for the entire season like you were because you are a moron.
He put that bet down to win like $1,000.
It wasn't even a good bet.
No.
It really wasn't. I've had better bets.
Whenever these guys get caught, what cracks me up is they're making like $200 bets. It's not like you would think that they're gambling addicts, throwing down $10K a weekend. They're just making like $20 bets.
There should be a threshold for what warrants a suspension. Like, if they put, it should be like $500 based on what their salary is. Like, all right, $500, whatever. Like, really that's not life changing. But if they're throwing down 10K, yeah, I get it. Let's suspend them. But some of these guys are putting down like $10 bets, $10 parlays to win a couple hundred. Like that's just them trying to. They're trying to feel something.
Yeah.
Like they're in a dark place. Maybe they're not playing. Maybe they're injured. Maybe they're just having a bad season. Like they just want to feel something. They want to see one go through the hoop. And I've done that. I've found bets that are like minus 8,000, and I'm like, you know what? I'm throwing $10 on that just to see it go through the hoop. Do I only come out with $10.10 usually? Absolutely. But I still gotta win. Still a win. So I could see how that's the case. But at the same, yeah. The NFL, going back to, I got lost in the sauce on this one, but the NFL is a bunch of idiots for, one, partnering with FanDuel. I believe it's FanDuel. Is it DraftKings?
FanDuel.
It's FanDuel.
I think.
Yeah. And then being mad when their players use their sponsors. I don't know. It just seems a little backwards to me. And then also, how are you going to get in with the gambling and then not think that people are going to think that it's rigged?
Oh, well, it is rigged. We've been over this
Yeah.
plenty of times.
But now we just know for sure.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Oh, man.
I think they should put a casino in every facility so the players aren't forced to put down sports bets in the facility.
Yeah, and there should be there should be locks on some of them. You know, like if you're a Colts player, you can't bet on your own players in the facility while you're sitting next to them. You know, like that
Yeah.
just seems like something that should be also put in there. Just like little locks, like, oh, you're not allowed to do that. You know, that it's like the whole how NFL will pay for your Uber if you're drunk and you're an NFL player or working for the NFL. Like you get free Ubers. This should be their free Uber. You just have locks. Like, oh, we're gonna help you here. You're locked in these categories. You can't bet on them. Everything else, fair game.
Yeah, they just give the players their own little version of the app.
They get emailed a sheet.
Yeah.
Check mark what you want and send a picture back. Like that should be what it is. Every team has their own sheet person. Oh fuck, dude.
Listen, if you're an NFL player and you're listening to this and you want to put down a bet, all you have to do is text your friend, "Hey, I'll Venmo you $200."
We'll be that friend.
We will. And you won't get caught. We won't tell anybody.
No. Is it going to be suspicious when Colin Muller from Little Bethlehem is winning $4,000 and then Venmoing $4,000 to someone? I mean, no, it would actually be like $3.8 grand because I'm keeping $200 in
Finder's fee.
Yeah, but I think it's only fair. I'm gonna lose it anyways, you know. So I Venmo him then I keep the 200 to bet and I'll lose it within a week. So I don't see how this goes wrong. If you need a betting person, call us.
And why is Pete Rose still locked out of the Hall of Fame when we're giving these guys 1-year suspensions?
The guy bet on his own team to win.
Yeah.
He bet on himself to get hits, I believe. Like,
and that's all the man did.
That takes balls.
He followed through.
Yeah, that's not soft. That doesn't deserve this type of suspension. That takes balls. Like that dude, he's a man along the way because the Reds weren't good every year.
If he was betting on himself, like his own player stats, he might have made it come up. But
oh yeah, I could see that. Like him to get 2 bases plus 180 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Throw last week's check on it.
All day.
Yeah, easy. He was probably bunting to do it. Let me just put one down third base 2-3 times. Everyone's wondering why this dude's bunting every at
He just needed another hit for the parlay to cash.
Yeah, one more base. He's like, if I just get on base one more time, all right, what's the easiest way I could do this? I'm going to bunt it down third base. God. What a life that must have been. And I'm just thinking about it, but like back then, how do you get caught? You know?
That's a good question.
How do you get caught?
Somebody had to snitch.
Oh, man. But that's another one like Pete wrote, like, bro, find a betting person. Send them to the bookie.
He played in like the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah. So, I mean.
So he was putting down bets with the mob.
Yeah.
Had to be.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, he should have had a person that he sends to them.
A liaison?
Yeah. Just like a, in-between guy. He brings them money. They send the money
Yeah,
back.
just do like a dead drop. Have a little middleman.
Yeah.
Just so they never know it's you.
Yeah. On the corner of 4th and 5th. God. Well, that's all I got. That was a good show.
Yeah, good episode.
Yeah. We
We're
talked
still
about
in
Zach
the
Wilson.
we're still in the off-season desert of football news.
Yeah, we talked about
There's
Zach Wilson
absolutely
today.
nothing. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and we offered ourselves as the betting people for all the NFL players.
And that offer still stands.
Absolutely. And
It always
I
stands.
think we could make a lot of money on this if we have a finder's fee with it.
Right,
Think about
right.
the amount of money they're going to put down. They put down $5,000, they win $10,000. We keep 20%, or I'll even be nice. I'll keep 5%, if depending on how much money they're willing to give us. But I'll keep 5-10% of every win. Easy.
Easy money.
We'll be the NFL players by the end of this. Unless they lose some money, then we'll look like idiots. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, good pod.
All right. That's the B team. Peace out.